Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another night of Beyond the White Noise Paranormal Videocast. Tonight we have on Eric and Paul from S.E.P.S. No, not sex, ladies and gentlemen, S.E.P.S. Southeastern Paranormal Society.
He wishes.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Because like synchronized, and it's like watching the paranormal version of Glee. Three both just at the same time, like a barbershop quartet. Thanks for having us, guys. Well played.
I think we share a brain half the time.
That's a scary thought because that means I only have half a brain most of the time, and I don't use it. So
I'm gonna say you two guys are lucky because me and Kurt haven't got a brain between us. So.
No.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is this show is screwed. Is what he's saying is that we go off the rails
from the get-go. At the end of this show, I'm going to declare it explicit.
What does the get-go have to? Anyway.
Leave the get-go out of it. Oh, good. Anyway, Kurt, I'm going to ask. We normally do this at every single show, and it's just a gauge of how shitty our lives are. Kurt, what have you been up to this week?
Other than getting into a Facebook war with some guy out of England, then I find out my phone gets hacked, and then I had. No, I know it wasn't you. We had our conversation about that.
Yeah.
I just been working, and it's been a pissy week because of that. So I tend to get into Facebook wars with people here and there. Sometimes out of boredom, sometimes because I feel like it. Other times, it just happens. But this one was pretty good. I went in there and I went in over my head, and I was running point on this one. And nobody from Liverpool helped me out on this one. So I got hit hard on this one.
Kurt. Idle hands. That's what it is. Idle hands. Gonna get you in a lot of trouble, man. A lot of trouble. But nevertheless, my week has been work, sleep, repeat. I was really surprised. Something I will point out as of late is something which is happening with Paranormal TV. Which is a bit of a shock horror thing, is Ghost Asylum. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago on the show, Kurt, I was talking about the capabilities of using a YouTube 360 camera on investigation? Ghost Asylum are doing it. They've released the video. I think they're going to start doing walkthroughs using the 360 camera, so as you go through. Looking forward to that, and I hate them for robbing me idea, even though they never. But I'm just going to pretend they did, and I'm going to get bitter about it. And then start sending hate Twitter messages or something. Why not? Jesus, why not? Oh, but yeah. Guys, anyway, I might as well drag you into the equation. What's made your week better than last week? Oh, you got clothes on. That's one thing that's good about this week.
We have clothes on this week because last week was our naked ghost hunting show, and Eric and I did that naked, so...
Yeah, no video.
So that's made this week better so far.
That's pay-per-view.
No one would pay to view that. That's all I'm saying.
No. And the ones that would, we don't want them following us anyway. So no.
You're probably right.
Yeah. Right now, there's pictures of you two guys up in Japan on some person's wall, and probably just salivating.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
There's far worse things you can do. Well, the one thing I have noticed is you two guys, ever since we started talking about an hour ago with regards to the show, you're sort of like the alter ego of the way we are. You start with good intentions and then it goes funny, and I love it. I for people who think I'm an absolute stalker, I used to listen to Paul Cagle years ago when his podcast was first running, and again I've started listening since his podcast has been up now since November, if I'm right in believing.
Yeah, it's been through several iterations where it's changed a lot over the years, and some of the first podcasts from the S.E.P.S Paranormal Podcast don't exist anymore because they were lost somewhere because they were horrible. And then after that, it progressively, hopefully, got better. But
that's like our entire back catalogue of shows that we've got. It just sort of get lost slowly but surely. I think, my opinion, I think it's probably the best things we could have done. Now, as I said, I used to listen to your show a long time ago. And one of the things I always remember was there was the Ghost Adventures done this 3-day live event in some Trans-Allegheny Lunar, whatever the hell it's called. This
Lunatic Asylum, yeah.
Yeah. And you guys pointed out about the torch, or not the torch, the tri-field meter getting launched.
Yeah.
Right. I'll always remember that. I remember where it was when I was listening to the show, because I was on my lunch in work and I'm walking down to the McDonald's. I heard it, and I'm walking down the road, and you know when you're listening to something in your headphones, you sort of, with podcasts or anything like that, you've got your headphones in, you're listening as you're walking along, you don't realise you're getting enthralled in it, or you're getting stuck into it. And as I'm listening away and I heard what happened, I was like, those fuckers. The guy himself, sorry, what a really terrible thing to do. And it was at that point I realised, some of the things you could pull through on a podcast and some of the things you could talk about. It gave me an idea of, obviously, I started listening to more podcasts, and I did lose love for podcasts a little bit when you guys came off air. And then I got stuck into listening to them again and met this crazy American on the left-hand side of the screen, and it went downhill. Like, since life's been destroyed by him.
And it will keep going downhill quickly. You lose track and control very quickly of it.
Yeah, well, it could be worse. But the best part with podcasts is you've got an opinion. You can speak your opinion. There's nothing stopping you just coming out and you do a show on whatever the hell you want. You do a show on, as you said, Naked Paranormal. And I do know they were talking about another show like that last year somewhere else. As being a viable concept, and I listened to your show on that. For people who are not aware, if you get onto podcast and look for S.E.P.S Paranormal, have a look for the show. The last show which they uploaded, which was about naked paranormal investigating, and when I first heard it, I laughed, because when someone says naked anything, it's always funny. And then the more you listen to it, I realised when you started the show, you were laughing and joking, and then you sort of felt more comfortable in what you were going on about.
Right.
And the fact you were sitting there breezy in the wind.
Right.
Throughout that podcast, I did realise that one of you was remarkably colder than the other.
Yes.
That would be me, yeah. I'm in Idaho. It's a lot colder here.
It was like 70 degrees here, and I had the windows closed, of course, and the curtains closed, and I had the fan off so that you didn't hear it in the background. So I'm like sweating to death, and Eric is up there. He's like, "Oh my God, it's cold over here. I was going to get a heater, but I didn't want to mess with the sound." I'm like, "Oh, it's hot over here. I'm sweating. I'm glad I'm naked now."
Oh my God. It's like.
Yeah, usually I pull a blanket up over me, because I'm freezing here. It's 40 some odd degrees here, and I had to go outside to take my before picture, and I'm outside. It's freezing out there, wind's blowing. I'm out there in shorts and a t-shirt, shivering while my wife takes the before picture, and I never recovered. Like the second we went off air, I had pants on, I had a coat on, I had a hot water bottle next to me. So
it was like the Titanic when they were dragging people out of the ocean in the freezing cold, and wrapping them around in foil and stuff like that to keep them alive. Oh, dude, I've got a lot of respect for you doing it, but I just think the two of you are nutty as hell for doing it in the first place.
That's what we were going for. No pun intended there.
Yeah, no pun intended. One of the things is that we decided that we wanted to start doing a few more experimental shows where we test out theories, ideas, or whatever, and that was kind of our first experimental show was what are the benefits of naked ghost hunting? And so we were like, well, let's just do it naked and see if we get any kind of extra showman energy from being naked. What would be the point of doing a show that way? A video show that way. So that's kind of why we did it.
Have you ever thought if there was anything on the other side, like, if there was a spirit behind somewhere that they might have been pointing and laughing and giggling?
If there was a spirit in this house, I scared it to the other side on that show. So.
Yeah. If there's a spirit in Paul's house, he actually haunts it. So, yeah.
It's true. That is very true.
Spirits. Oh, it's hilarious. Nevertheless, right, I'm going to ask you, Eric, because obviously you're I think you're more newer towards the S.E.P.S Paranormal podcast.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Right. So,
yeah.
Give me your backstory. Give me your Avengers style backstory.
I started Magic Valley Paranormal 2013, and wanted to run my own team. I had been with several different teams, and they invited me onto the Enigma Project, which is Paul's other show, to talk about an investigation, and I sort of just never went away. You know, I got to know Paul a little bit, and I always wanted to do a podcast, and he says, well, I want to bring the S.E.P.S Paranormal podcast back. Would you be interested in co-hosting? And I said, let's do it. You know, it's something I've always wanted to try, and, you know, Paul takes care of all the technical stuff. I just sit here and yap. That's all I do. So, yeah, it's I've had a lot of fun with it, and you know, it's something new, and then I end up naked. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to, man. What can I say?
Yeah, that's how shit normally starts. You know, you start with the best intentions, end up naked.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, everything starts that way. For guys who are listening, by the way, if you are watching it on YouTube, on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a chat box. Use that. If you're watching it on a mobile device, there should be a little sign at the bottom saying chat. If you touch that, it'll open up your chat room. You can jump in the chat room and insult us like everybody else normally does in the chat room. But yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I don't. You know what? I don't think you. I think you were just trying to take a selfie. That's all I seen there was you grab your camera.
That's what I was doing.
Go for it. Well played. So, nevertheless, right. Let's go on to more team talk, if anything. Right now, you guys are technically from separate teams. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm from the Southeastern Paranormal Society, located in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Eric is from Magic Valley Paranormal.
Now, when you named it Magic Valley Paranormal, were you intentionally naming it MVP?
Well, yeah, that was kind of, you know, I like the MVP initials and everything, but the valley that I live in is actually called the Magic Valley here in Twin Falls, Idaho. So it was kind of an easy name to come up with, and then I can just say, hey, yeah, I'm with MVP, or I'm an MVP, you know, try to get cocky.
I hope to God they grow like hallucinogenic mushrooms where you live, by the way, because that's the only reason I could think they would name that area that.
Magic Valley.
Yeah, I will neither confirm nor deny that. So.
Yeah. And on that subject, look at my crop of mushrooms. Well played. Oh God. So how long have you been going as MVP?
Since 2013. I've been investigating since 2006 with several other teams, but like I said, I wanted to put something together right here in my community. We're a very community-based team. You know, we try to do events and things within the community. I live in a very conservative community. You know, paranormal believers are kind of few and far between, but we're starting to see a lot more people, you know, ask us questions and come to us for things. So it's pretty cool. The whole experience has been kind of surprising, really.
That's what I found when I first got into the paranormal field, that a lot of people you do deal with, you'll get the people who will literally say, dust, nothing more, it was electronics, something, and they'll make a million and one excuses in the world for why something happens, and then the other side of the board is us guys who will sit there, actually genuinely put time and effort into trying to work out what's on the other side, what the noises are in the distance. We do run around buildings, obviously, with torches in the dark. It's kind of creepy, for the wrong perspective, of course, but it's good the way that the paranormal field as of late is opening up. I do believe, though, sadly, I think it's more down to the media. You know, the way the shows are bringing everything forward at the moment. Everyone seems to think that in half an hour, if you run into a building, that you're going to get hours worth of footage. It's pedantic, if anything.
That's how we do it.
Oh, clearly. How many times I've walked in, put a camera down on the floor, caught the best evidence in the world.
I know, 30 minutes tops, I can get 3 hours worth of evidence easily.
Yeah. And in my entire experience in the paranormal, I think I've caught like 2 things in my life which I've ever scratched my head towards.
Same here.
One of them actually was my radiator. Yeah.
That was great. That was great.
It was phenomenal. I built I modified 2 Kinect cameras so we could use them in 2 separate parts of an investigation to test the skeletal viewer. I thought I'll give it a go. You know, Ghost Adventures are running around with £1,000 version of it. Mine didn't cost me £1,000, so I was kind of happy with that, Mr. Ghost Adventures people. And I set it up. I pointed it to the side of my living room, and I'm like, okay, it can see the wall. You can see the wall. Everything's there. And then the next minute, a little child's frame appeared in the corner, and I was like, oh, I can't. The one explicit thing my wife has said to me since I've been into the paranormal is, do not ever test a piece of equipment in the house.
Right.
Go somewhere else. And I'm like, okay. But I tested the connect in the corner. She's looking at me now with, no, don't look at me with them eyes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna get hit with a plate, dude. You're
What?
gonna get hit with a plate.
Yeah. Don't
It'll
look.
be paranormal if it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hit him with a
Yeah.
plate. Hit him with a plate.
Hit me with a
Say a
plate.
ghost did it.
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
not?
that'll make a show.
That'll get me viral. But anyway, it was in the corner, and all you could see was this framework of a child, and I was like, this is really, wow, I can't believe this is working. I was getting really, not stressed, but I was trying to work out, and then I looked in the top corner, and I seen the top of the radiator was the head. There was a coat hanger on the side of the radiator, which was a shoulder, and another shoulder was like, I can't believe that.
But I will say though, Mo, he was trying to set me up with one too. I was putting one together, and he showed me the evidence, and I was like, "That looks like a person." He goes, "That's a radiator." I'm like, "Jesus, dude."
So if anything, I've got a career in plumbing. That's all I can pull off the Paranormal Field. Is that I'm going to do well in plumbing.
We had a situation like that years ago where we went to this old country church, and we were investigating. We took this picture, and came back, and you look at the picture, and someone is standing in the window. Well, we didn't get to stay there long because there were some issues. But we go back years and years later. I take my team back, and I'm like, I want you guys to see this place. We found a figure standing in a window. You really need to investigate. So we go up there and we start taking pictures of the same window, and we're like, oh wait, the figure's back. And so we keep taking pictures and getting closer and closer and closer. Well, come to find out, there was something on the window that was a film of some sort, and the way it reflected back light, it reflected back light in every spot but the middle, which made it look like someone was standing there. So we actually debunked it, but I've got friends that still to this day believe that is a paranormal that is a paranormal event when it wasn't. So.
Yeah, and I've had something similar happen like that too, where somebody took a picture and there was a blue mist in the picture, and then when I threw it into my Photoshop program, lightened everything up, it's me standing there with a blue sweatshirt. So they were ready to, yeah. But I mean, in the original picture, all you could see is what looked like a blue mist, and as you can see behind me, I love blue, so I'm always wearing it. So.
Yeah, I think also using cameras these days, it's so easy to pick up like the most minute thing, and with the use of pareidolia, matrixing, whatever you want to call it, it's there. I mean, it's almost like you need a video camera to kind of catch something for movement or something like that. That's just my opinion all. So I don't know.
Can I commit personal and professional suicide, please? If you
Sure.
don't mind. Right, cool. With the progress of technology at the moment, we're getting cameras now which are 4K. Obviously we've gone from HD to Ultra HD, and now the capabilities with some of the cameras, one of them being the Red Epic, can actually get to 5K. They're using that on the Paranormal Lockdown at the moment. The camera's such a powerful camera, and the lenses that they're using are so powerful that it actually works in low light conditions as if it's got night vision, which it hasn't got night vision. It's just got it can just see so good at low light that it's picking up absolutely everything. Now, with the way technology's going and the clarity of video, it's getting to a point now where if it is a fly, you can see a fly. But the one problem that I'm noticing at the moment, and this is where the professional suicide kicks in, or the paranormal suicide we'll call it, is when you listen to some EVPs, you can grab hold of a Zoom voice recorder, which will be $300, $400, or you can grab an Olympus voice recorder for $30. The Olympus voice recorder's got a better chance than the Zoom voice recorder of pulling a decent EVP. And more, in my eyes, it's more due to the fact that the quality is lesser, the amount of background noise is better, or could it be that the higher quality voice recorder's got some form of noise suppression that I'm not aware of? But I don't know. It's getting to that point now, unfortunately, with technology for me.
Well, they say that with EVP that one of the reasons why we get EVP is because they use the white noise to manifest their voices with. Yes. So if you've got a high quality audio with no white noise capability, then they have nothing to manifest with. Now, I'm not saying that that's actually what happens or how it works, but that's one of the theories out there. And a lot of people will use white noise generators while they're doing EVP, so that it gives them the energy to actually use to form their voice and speak.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. I've always thought, because I've got Zoom voice recorders, I've got recorders that I use on the side on my SLR cameras, and it's such a good quality recorder. I can hear how bad my breathing is when I'm breathing. I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing. And it's only when you listen to that type of quality you think,
right,
I could never use this. Do you know the only time I've ever got anything useful off that on an investigation is for background audio, for making a video of one of the investigations we've done. That was all it was, just for the background noises of doors slamming and echoing. But it is what it is. Now, just to point out, we've got a few questions that have appeared in the chat room, right? One of the questions in the chat room is, do you think, as an investigator, I should stay on my own or join a team?
I would say join a team. Investigating by yourself is never a good idea. I mean, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, and with my team, we always use the buddy system. So, yeah, absolutely, I'd say join a team.
That's massively important. I'll agree with you on that. If you get yourself into any sort of...
Safety's key.
Yeah. I mean, put your hand up right now if when you go out on an investigation, you take a first aid kit with you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
We sometimes do. We don't always.
I've took a plaster once. Literally took one plaster, and it was because I forgot it. I had it in my bag. Unfortunately, sometimes you think safety, personal safety, it sort of falls second best, sadly. But yeah, it is what it is. Now I'm going to go through the questions in the chat room if you don't mind, guys. Why does everyone show themselves more than the evidence on shows? I know the answer, but I'm going to let you guys go for it.
Yeah, we can do it, but nah.
Ask the question again. What was it?
Right, okay. Why does everybody show themselves more than the evidence?
Why do they show themselves more than the evidence? They don't have as much evidence as they do.
Right. Showing themselves is filler. Yeah.
Yeah, it's filler.
Can I throw a horrible opinion at it?
Sure.
The people who put the evidence forward, and this is my opinion, by the way, the people who put the evidence forward and sit there and have a long conversation about the evidence that they pull up first, my opinion is they're doing it for the wrong reasons, because if you believe you have to sit there and explain every single movement in your piece of evidence and have to replay, slow it down, turn it up, if you have to keep doing that, then your evidence is under scrutiny in the first place, because you should never have it. Good evidence never needs to be manipulated.
It's dodgy. I mean, if you don't do that, it's definitely dodgy.
Well, if I'm explaining evidence to you, it's because I assume you're so dumb you need it.
But God, you came out with that answer. I was waiting for somebody to come up with something
just
cooler than me.
If I feel like you're dumb enough to need me to, no, I'm just kidding. But evidence, you should be able to set up the evidence and say, here was the location, here was the history, here was the story, and the evidence should be able to stand on its own. If you've set it up correctly, and the evidence is good enough.
Perfect. Now another question in the chat room is, how can you tell real people from the fake?
Real people are real, fake people are fake.
Dodgy mustaches and glasses is probably a dead giveaway.
if you punch them and they fall down, they're real, and if you punch it and it goes right through it, you can run.
But what are they saying? How do you tell fake people from real people?
Oh, it's easy.
About audio or video or in real life or
plastic surgery?
A TV show. Sounds like a TV show kind of question right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I do plastic surgery.
Yeah, I definitely think plastic surgery. No, realistically, I think you can tell the real from the fake due to the fact of your lad. The last question that was in the chat room is the real investigation would be the video put up and a description of what happened. This happened, and then you post it onto whatever peer review you want to, whether it's going to be YouTube, whether you want to hand it to the local news station to get yourself. Yeah, no, just if you wanted to get yourself there. Now, in my opinion, and again, only my personal opinion, if you're real, you don't need to put all the effort into all the editing and enhancing and everything like that, and you definitely don't need to have amazingly good hair and a big massive amount of chest muscle like certain people who
like me.
Right.
Yeah, like Keith.
Yeah. We're all jealous because we're not built like you, so
yeah. So
it's that third chin I have, right?
When I put out evidence, I put it out with, you know what, here it is. You decide what you think of it. I don't care one way or the other if you believe me or not. Make up your own mind on it. That's how I put out the evidence.
The most footage I've ever released of any of our investigations, and I've took it off air for a reason I'll have to sort out in the next couple of weeks, is that I've only ever posted bloopers of stuff we've done which has been bad, like when we've set alarms off in buildings that we've had access to.
Funny.
And the alarm went off, and the three people in the room, they ran like they'd been burgling the house, and it wasn't. We had permission to be there. We'd actually paid money to go there, and and there was another one we were all throwing tennis balls into a well, trying to get tennis balls into a well. So that was all we got from that investigation, was that none of us could hit a well with a tennis ball. It was embarrassing. And the last question in the chat room at the moment is, what do you think of the Demon Hunter?
Was that a show?
Yeah, it's a show. The Demon Hunter. I'll jump in on this one. The Demon Hunter's a show. It's an ex-cop out of New York, I think, or Chicago, one of the two. And he supposedly is like ultra religious. I actually know by chance one of the guys on the show. Not know him, but on Facebook a while back. I've had him on as a guest. But it's like the Demon Hunter. It's me personally. It's bull. It's BS. But if you're religious, you might find it interesting. And I'm not religious in no shape or form.
Well, even if you're religious, I think you should take it with a grain of salt. Just because someone shows you a picture of something on TV and goes, "Look at this mysterious shadow that we couldn't define," it's a demon.
Yeah.
Well, you just defined it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy goes in and exercises. I mean, he cleanses,
I'm not exercising anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm fat lazy for that.
I think that's the entire of this show, to be fair. I think collectively, from mine and Kate's side, we probably weigh the planet to one side.
Yeah, we knock it to one side.
Yeah. Where do you guys actually stand on the topic of demons in general? I mean, I know there's a lot of conjecture at the moment, a lot of people on different sides of fences, a lot of people with a lot of their own personal opinions.
I will say that I won't say that demons don't exist, because I don't have all the knowledge that I need to make an educated decision. What I will say is, in my 40-something years on this planet, 10, 15 of those having been a paranormal investigator, I will say I've never come across anything I would consider demonic.
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of the mythologies behind demons are created to scare people and to freak people out and to control people, and that's what it does. Then you add on top of that these shows and these TV shows that have to produce evidence and scary stuff, and you're coming up with a this whole bad idea that people are going to feed into and take away from, and it's just going to scare them and make it worse and worse and worse. And I think that a lot of people are reacting to fear rather than demons.
Good shout. Eric, now your turn.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Paul on that too. I've never encountered one, and when people come to me and think that they have a demon, I like to give them a little question and answer, and I have a way of asking questions to kind of find out about their personal life, what's going on at home. And what I've realized is that people who think they have demons, a lot of time it's their own personal demons. It's the negative energy that they're manifesting within themselves.
Do you think mental illness plays a role in that too? I mean, that's got to be huge when you're out there and somebody's saying I have something demonic, I have something evil, I have something this. I mean, well, tell me about your mental stability. Are you on medication? Are you on this? Are you on that?
Do you live in like a place where there's a crop of mushrooms growing really close by?
Yeah. Well,
I'm seeing a theme here.
Yeah, and I don't think people that see demons necessarily have a mental illness. I mean, it could play a possibility, but I've met some very, very smart, educated people that it's their fear. Their fear more than anything is going to manifest this and believe that they have a demon, and when they can't explain it, that's an easy explanation to go to. Especially if they're religious, saying, "Well, a demon has possessed me," or "I have a demon in my home." Yeah. That's what they've been taught.
Well, I had a woman call one time, and she emailed me, I think, texted me, and she said she had a demon in her home because she had left the front door open and the wind had blown it open. She had put a shower curtain up the week before and it fell, and she was redoing her house, and she had waxed her floor, and when she took a picture, there was a big blob in the middle of it, and it looked like a demon's face. And I told her, I said, that's matrixing, and she was like, well, there's no light source for that to come from. I was like, your camera didn't have a flash on it? Well, yes, but, well, there's your light source, you know, and that's why she thought she had a demon, and I was like, you don't.
Gotta love odd logic. Now, the one thing I'll say about demonology, and again, I'm going to class this as a personal opinion and stop myself from, again, committing more perjury in the eyes of the paranormal, we'll call it, is now I understand demons, I understand why people are petrified of demons. This time 300 years ago, to stop you going into the woods, they would tell you something was in there, and there was something scary in the woods. You wouldn't go in the woods if you were a child because there was something there ready to attack you and eat you. It was either going to be a monster or what effectively turned into a demon or something like that. Now, if you look more towards China, now if I ever had to say anywhere had a big fear in demonology, China and Japan. The way they look at demons and the theory of demons is petrifying. It really is.
Look at the jinn. The jinn's the same thing in a sense.
Exactly.
Right.
People have dedicated their lives to that, the story of the jinn.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I, in my personal opinion, I do believe that the paranormal at the moment seems to have a fashion. I'll say it's like demonology is the new thing, or orbs was the new thing. It's always going to follow a pattern, and you can normally tell by the person who's doing an investigation or investigating how long they've been in it, by how much they believe or disbelieve or they don't subscribe to something. Like if I said now, put your hand up if you're a heavy orb believer, then you probably find 90% of the planet aren't going to put the hand up. It can all be sort of explained away. But again, personal opinion. So
right.
That's my utter rant over on the demonology side of things. But
I do got to bring one thing up though with Mo. Mo, real quick.
Go on.
Do me a favor. Read your bar, your third bar.
Am I you?
Yes, you are.
That's kind of awkward. I don't want to be you. I want to be a mate. Do you know what? On that utter bombshell, I'm going to change that now. I don't want to be you. You don't want to be you. Disgusting.
Yeah,
like, you know what?
You're a Yank, dude. You're a Yank. Face it.
I'm going to be nobody after that. Point that out to me. Nah. I'll fix that in a minute, don't worry. But nevertheless, now, again, with regards to the paranormal and with regards to, obviously, there's a difference between your side and the US and Britain's side with regards to the paranormal. Do us a favour, guys, between the three of you, I know for a fact, you've all had run-ins and scrapes with things you shouldn't have done. I mean, we've got this thing, me and Kurt, where we call investigating an area where you really shouldn't be. It's called brick and ladder. So it's a theory called brick and ladder investigating. Now, as far as I remember, Paul, yeah, spotlight's on you now.
Yes.
Tell us what you were telling us before the show started, please. You've got to do it. I'm dragging you into it now.
So several years ago, we decided to look for this place called Grayson Manor, and it was across in the town where I was born and raised, and I'd never known it was there until someone told me later, and then we went searching for it. So we went out one night, and we're looking for it. It's way back in the woods, and it's like the road is gravel. It's not even paved. I mean, it's like out in the country, and so we're out there and we're looking for it, and we finally find the only place it could be is this fenced-in area with a huge cattle gate. And so two of our members, who are police officers, decided to just kind of pop over and look and see what was over there and see if we were in the right spot. And when they get over there, one of the other investigators and I were talking, and we hear a gunshot. And I was like, was that a gunshot? And our two investigators that were across the fence had jumped the fence and had gotten back in the van and were like, let's go, before we had even finished our sentence, because they'd gotten shot at. And so we went over there the next day trying to figure out whose property it was and who owned it. Well, the people that owned it, or whoever was a caretaker, had told me that my uncle was the one that was caretaker for it, and that his caretaker was the one that had shot at us last night. So I was like, oh, that's great. I've got to go tell my family that they shot at us last night.
Yeah.
And
do you ever think they were trying to tell you something?
I think they've been trying to tell me something for years. I think that was just the bravest they ever got.
Oh my dear God! Have you got any sketchy situations which you've been involved with, Eric?
You know, we had permission to be there, but we investigated an old brothel with another team I was on before Magic Valley Paranormal existed.
Brothel.
Yeah, it was an old brothel.
It was still open.
Investigated.
Yeah, we investigated
with cameras.
No.
Gold coins.
Cameras and condoms.
But during that investigation, something didn't want us there, and one of the investigators got the word "stop" scratched into his back. Right. So that's about as sketchy as I've been in, you know, where when I drove home afterwards. Yeah, I've posted pictures before, but that was one of the investigations that I drove home looking in the rearview mirror waiting for something to grab me out of the back seat. But yeah, we had permission to be there, but you know, I don't know that I'd want to go back there.
I would go.
Yeah, you just want to get scratched. That's just kinky.
No, I would go. I like stuff like that. I think it'd be cool to see what happens.
Right. Are you being honest? You'd like to go there, or do you mean because it's a brothel?
No, I'm being honest. I'd like to go there because I like stuff like I've gotten scratched before. We were at a local graveyard here in Chattanooga, and there's this mausoleum, and it's creepy as all get out. And we were back there, and we were getting ready to leave, and as we start off, I feel this burning on my back, and so I like stopped, and I like instantly went into record mode. I was like, okay, now it's burning. Yeah, now it's getting deeper. Oh, yep, that hurts. Yeah. And my other investigators were like, what are you doing? What's going on? I said, I'm getting scratched. Hold on a minute. They're like, what? No, we've got to go now. Get it. I was like, I'm recording this. Hold on. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, it's about, yeah. And so they were like, let's go. And so finally I walked up front and they took a picture of it. And when they pulled my shirt up to take a picture of it, somebody reached over and put their finger on my back and pointed at it. And I said, yeah, it's right there. And they said, right where? And I said, where you're touching. And they're like, we're not touching you. And I was like, well, somebody is, because I could feel it. And then they just kind of ran their finger down my back and stopped. It went away. But, yeah.
Now, a question just appeared in the chat room now. I don't know. I'll word it in a slightly different way, but with the same context. It's been worded, what's the worst attack you've all had? So basically, I think what he means is, what's the worst experience you've ever been involved with on an investigation?
For me, it was my second investigation with a team. I mean, I was green as the grass, and we went to a cemetery, and evidently we didn't have permission to be there, even though they claimed that we did. And then the cops start showing up, and the caretakers start, and I thought I was going to jail that night. And that was the second investigation I did with that group, and that was the final investigation. That, I mean, as far as ghosts or spirits go, I'm not scared of it. But I mean, you start bringing the police into it, and the threat of going to jail. That's pretty scary to me. But paranormal doesn't bother me. I normally don't get too scared.
Right. Okay, Paul, your turn.
I'm trying to think. We've never really had anything horribly bad happen on an investigation where, like, ghosts did anything or spirits or whatever. No one's ever gotten possessed or anything like that. But we have had the police show up, and and it's funny here in the South because we were in a graveyard, and these police show up and they're like, "Hey, boy, what are you doing? What's going on?" You're like, we're paranormal investigators, and we're here. Oh, really? I saw a ghost over here. Follow me. And then they'll take you over there and show you where they saw the ghost and what it did and what it was wearing, and they'll give you the whole story and everything. But some of them, not all of them. Yeah. But I don't know.
Have you got visions of you going along with this police officer, and he's going, "That's haunted. That's haunted. I shot him."
I shot him twice. I shot that one. Yeah, but we've been lucky. We haven't had anything really bad happen. We've had an investigator trip over a grave and roll down a hill, but he was fine and the camera was fine. So.
Paul, ask Mo about how when he goes to graveyards, he falls in the indentations all the time. He always falls in the indentations. He knew it was coming. He saw it. He went like this.
Mo, how often does that happen?
Okay, right. I'm gonna see if I can redeem some respect from this. Right. Right. If every team member in my team had a name and then had a subtitle underneath their name, mine would be Mo, clumsy bastard. Right. Regardless of what happens, I am considering I'm very aware of my surroundings at any given time. I'm clumsy when it comes to going anywhere. Now, I was taking photographs of this church it's been there since the 1500s. It was, say, Abbey, not a church. It was a smaller version of a church. It was literally a ruin. It looked like a decaying tooth sticking out the ground. There's a family grave with about 9 or 10 gravestones behind me. So I'm walking back and I'm taking photographs, but I'm not taking photographs for anything other than I just wanted the photograph so I could put it up on the Facebook page to show the place that we went to. So I step back a little bit further. I go to step back and I just start falling backwards. I missed the floor. The floor had gone from underneath me. And what it is coffins, when they're there for a very long period of time in wet ground, it sinks and it'll drop down. And it dropped down probably about that much, so say about just under a foot down. And it was thick grass, so I didn't see it. So I fell all the way back onto soft grass, flat into the indentation, perfectly fitted into the square, as a body would. And then all my team come running over, obviously, to offer support. And
as they're doubled over laughing.
Do you know what the lead investigator done?
What?
I love it, right? He went like that. He reached into his pocket, gets his camera phone out. He's very impressed with himself and goes and takes a shot of me. I was like, you supportive man. Thank you very much. And the next time we went back to the same place to do an investigation, we decided to go in through a different entrance. And we were next to a freshly ploughed field. And it was full of water on one side. And I slid down.
Uh-oh, he's frozen. Uh-oh. He's frozen. Mo, are you there? Did you fall down? He fell.
He's still falling, apparently.
Still falling. Oh, my God.
Come back to the lot, Mo. Come back to the lot.
Hey, we're here. We're in the line. We're going to here to rescue you. We're going to bring you in, you demonic. You are demonic. Come on, Mo. Look at the face. Guys, look at the face. We're going to take advantage of this. This is outtake info. This is great stuff. Dude, we're going to do outtakes.
Nothing happened. He just cut his camera and microphone off. He's like, I'm done. Click.
I quit. I can't do this. He's going to disappear, and then he's going to come back with like another question or a tech question or something like that.
He'll come back and his shirt will be on backwards and inside out. His hair will be messed up. We're like, what happened?
Oh, going like this at the glory hole.
Wow. Dude, I thought we were bad, Eric.
I just made that show over 18 on YouTube. He's gonna kill me.
Yes, you did.
He's gonna kill me. But
wow.
But a question that I do have for you guys: Civil War battlefields, especially for Paul. I live in an area in Maryland. All Civil War battlefields, constant, back and forth. And do you go to many?
Sorry, guys.
Many investigations there?
He's back.
I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the hell's going on with the internet in Liverpool. I think somebody's robbing.
It's possessed.
No, go like this. Go like this. Go like that, Mo.
Go like what?
Go like this, right there. Go like this.
You're going to kill him later. We were talking about why the internet cut out, and I said either you cut it out because you were tired of talking to us. You're like, oh, we'll pretend something happened.
Yeah.
I said, or you're going to come back and your shirt's going to be inside out, turn around backwards, and your hair's going to be stuck up like this, and we're going to be like, what the hell happened? And then he started talking about the glory hole. So.
Yeah, it was an awkward situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with my internet, but both my computers that I use to want to monitor the chat room and this has just decided that it just doesn't want to play games. So I've just reconnected on another way. So nevertheless, I'm back again. But yeah, back home. So that's me. I fell into a grave. It was quite embarrassing. I also fell into a field full of water and got myself soaking wet for the entire of the investigation, which was hilarious as hell. Now,
Bo, real quick, dude.
Yep.
While you were gone, I'll watch the video once it's uploaded. I'll get the time down. We got an outtake for you. There's going to be an outtake on the show.
Is that yours? For those people listening on podcast, that's me insulting Kurt with a single finger because he deserves nothing less.
He's number one.
Yeah.
Number one.
Number two. Yeah, accept it. But nevertheless, right, that was my embarrassing situation where I fell into it. Oh, also as well, one of our other investigators done a roly-poly over one of my cameras and crushed it. I was very proud of him. Yeah, we all. It's called natural selection in my eyes. So Sorry, go on.
Well, we had a situation several years ago when we first started out where one of our investigators, we had borrowed we had rented a camera, and it was back when night shot cameras weren't as readily available as they are now. And one of the rent places around here had one, and we rented it for a lot of money, and we took it out. And Chase, one of our investigators, was using it, and we found this. We were in a graveyard testing it out. We found this shirt that was hanging off a limb, but the shirt was twitching by itself every now and again. It would just kind of twitch, and so we decided to go down and look at it, and he's got the camera, he's got the night shot, it's pitch black, and he's trying to get up on it and look. He gets closer and closer and closer, and something comes flying past his head, and he jumps backwards and throws himself out of the tree line. He goes, I just peed myself a little, just a little bit. And he said, it was a bird. I peed myself for a bird. We'll have that on video somewhere.
Oh, my dear God. Right, well, now that you've gone through something embarrassing, I've gone through something embarrassing. Eric's sitting there remarkably quiet.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? He's very quiet.
That's kind of
yeah, Eric.
Me?
Yeah. Your turn.
Boy, as far as embarrassing goes, investigating the Albion College in Albion, Idaho. I guess the worst thing would be my battle with bats. There was a lot of bats up there, and you can't really see the bats in the video, so it looks like I'm spazzing out and going crazy, waving my hands around a lot. But I could hear him.
That's what it's like doing the S.E.P.S podcast with him.
Yeah, exactly right. But I vowed if I ever went in that part of the building again, I'd wear a hard hat because there were bats, but you couldn't really see them on the camera, so they just thought I was crazy. But and I guess I did get attacked by a bird once too. A bird didn't like us in that same building, and it jumped on me, attached to my shoulder, started flapping its wings. But I don't know, I never peed myself or anything like that, so that's good.
Eric, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Never let yourself. That's good. That's good.
There's still time. I'm young. There's still time.
There's still time, yeah. It'll happen as you get older.
It's weird because we ask that question to pretty much everybody we ever interview on the show. We'll say, what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened on an investigation? And you know what? For every time I've asked that question, the people have gone, really, I don't know. I can't think. And then after the show, we get bombarded with things that this happened, that happened. You're talking about bats. I took a photograph once of a church, and a bat was flying at me. I didn't know. I took a photograph of a bat. So yeah, no, I've been there where a bat comes flying at you, and you're like, kind of
cool,
creepy.
Though. That's cool though. I mean, once you get the frozen shot of it.
Yeah, it literally looked as if it was angry at me because I took a photograph of it. It's in mid-flight, like really grumpy face on it.
That's cool. That's cool though, dude. That's cool.
Yeah, it actually looked like I was boxing a ghost or something. I was dodging and had my hands up, and but. No, it was just a bat.
And then you've got whatever Society for Protection of Animals in your areas watching this video of you just just punching bats out of midair.
Hey, as long as it goes viral.
Yeah, they're just all the bats are trying to get away, and you're just knocking them apart with camera tripod. Well played. We've had another question come through in the chat room, which is, when did you know you wanted to be an investigator?
for me, I've kind of always known, I've experienced stuff since I was a little kid, and until the show Ghost Hunters came out, I didn't realize there was actually people that went in search of this stuff. And so I went to my wife one day and I said, I really think I'd like to do this. And her first question to me was, well, how are you going to get your own show? It's not about having a show. I don't need a camera crew following me, but
really? I do.
And and then
do you know what? I do with the paranormal.
I love the support of your wife, by the way. That was really nice of her. Who would want to watch you? That was nice.
Yeah,
of her.
Exactly. I live with you, and there's nothing special about you. Why would anybody watch you? So, but
nice.
And I always tell people, when you actually finally get out and do it, and you hear that first thump or bump or hear a voice or whatever, and you don't take off running, you're hooked. You're always going to do it. If you run toward it, you're always going to be hooked.
Yeah. Now for you, Paul, your turn.
I grew up with a lot of paranormal experiences where I was thrown across the room one time and just saw things, heard things, felt things. And when I got older, I was like Eric. I didn't know that it was an option to do it, to investigate the paranormal. And once I started watching Ghost Hunters, I was like, I can do that. And we started our own group.
Yeah. Okay, I've never asked you that question.
What was the question?
Yeah. What was the question? How much marijuana have you smoked in the past 10 minutes? No. when did you realize?
Hold on! I haven't finished the joint yet.
Why is yours glowing blue?
Yeah, it's
paranormal.
It's a ghetto vape, and it's paranormal. Yeah,
Ghetto
this
vape.
is what got me. This is what got me into the paranormal right here.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd have to say, I was always a weird, creepy kid anyway, growing up. And always into that stuff. But Ghost Hunters. I got to go with these guys. Save Ghost Hunters.
Well, do you know what the worst part for me is? You guys got Ghost Hunters. What did I get? Most Haunted.
Yeah, but
if you're here, move the table. I moved on. We still joke about that. We still joke about that on every investigation.
I don't blame you. I've been on investigations where they've been
funny.
And I've been standing there watching people table tip on a paid-for event that we went to once because we weren't going to get access to an investigation unless we paid to go, and the price of some of them was like £1,000 plus. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pay for the investigation, go with an event, and then say to them, listen, we go that way, you go that way. Are you happy with that? And they were like, that's fine. So we done it, and when we eventually caught up with them, they were table tipping, and I committed a bit of social suicide, we'll call it, and the table tipping. And I'm watching with my torch, and one of the knuckles on one of the girls who's doing it goes white, and I just screamed bullshit. In the middle of the room, I screamed bullshit. And then everybody just looked at me. Torches just turned on me. I was like, her knuckles were white, she's lying. And then I literally might as well have just gone, right guys, come over and kick me all over the place, please. I really deserve to be booted round. But yeah.
They always did that thing where they'd be like, if you're here, move the table. And when the table would move, they would scream and run. Yeah. And I'm like, that's exactly what you asked for. I'd be like, if you're here, give me $20. Oh my God, somebody give me $20. Running. It never made any sense to me.
Well, there's a question for you then. With regards to the way the shows are going at the moment, each show seems to pull its own separate piece of evidence forward. So Ghost Adventures might look heavily in towards
fame.
That's the paranormal evidence. Or is it?
There's something supernatural behind their fame. I 100% agree with that. But no, what I mean is, like, for instance, you have ghost hunters who never seem to catch the full body operation. They always seem to catch something in the distance. Ghost Adventures will talk about a piece of evidence and then it'll magically appear in the middle of the show. So, like, somebody got scratched once here, and then a couple of minutes later, Zach goes, ow, I got scratched.
Right.
Conveniently. And then you've got Most Haunted, where people throw stones all the time and lie a lot. So, do you believe the way the shows are going and the way that the different types of evidence that each show seems to pull forward, do you believe there's a bit of a fashion that seems to sort of run down towards the normal paranormal field?
Go ahead, Paul.
They're going to have to start pulling something out. It's going. I think that's why a lot of or not a lot, but some of the networks are going towards the naked ghost hunting, is because now we don't have to show evidence. We could show you boobies, which they're not going to show because they're going to be blurred out.
No.
But so it's a tease. But I think that right now they're reaching for whatever they can get.
Yeah.
And I told somebody one day, I was like, there's not one paranormal group out there that doesn't think they don't deserve their own TV show. Because everyone thinks that they're TV worthy and ready to go and could be famous and everything. But I don't know. I think that they're going to have to either come out with some brand new equipment, something experimental, or find something edgy.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. There's one thing I'm going to point out, though, is something I noticed with regards to Ghost Adventures, is have you ever seen some of the EVPs that they've got where there's been swearing in the EVP? And all you get is, listen to this, guys, and you just hear, beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
I hate that, yeah. I love it. Oh, hilarious.
I've never, listen as this ghost cusses me out. Zach, you beep, 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 you.
But it's always conveniently a Class A EVP.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
Well played on that for them. Absolute geniuses. But nevertheless, right, well, unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a chance to plug the living crap out of yourselves. So, first things first, I'll start with Eric.
Kind of kinky, but...
I doubt it's the worst thing you've done on camera.
Oh, dude.
Dear God. So anyway, Eric, MVP,
Magic Valley Paranormal. Yep. We just took our website live today. It's mvpara.com. That's MVPARA. Yeah, finally. So mvpara.com. You can find us on Facebook. We also have a community Facebook group where we'll answer questions or whatever. We try to be very. We answer questions, whatever we can do to keep the conversation going about the paranormal, and then of course the S.E.P.S Paranormal Podcast with Paul.
Super. And Paul, time for you to get plugging.
Right. Well, we have the S.E.P.S Paranormal Podcast. You can find my group at sepsparanormal.org. You can also find the S.E.P.S Paranormal Podcast there because I've kind of combined it all down. And I also do the Enigma Project radio show. You can find that at enigmaproject.com, and it's AENIGMA. We are doing a live show tonight on the S.E.P.S Paranormal Podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're talking about haunted trails around the U.S. And then tomorrow night we are doing the Enigma Project, which is the show is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is animals possessing people. Will be what we're talking about. So
right, cool. And one more thing before we go, where the hell's Suki? Oh, Sushi, sorry, Suki. Where am I going?
Sushi?
Yeah.
Sushi's at home with her 12 kids, her 8 husbands, her 8 jobs, her 19 pets, and the rest. Yeah.
Is she still involved at S.E.P.S heavily? Is she?
She is involved with the Enigma Project. She's one of my co-hosts.
Yeah.
For the S.E.P.S Paranormal Podcast, she's going to start doing the trivia again soon. So.
Cool. No, perfect. And for anybody who doesn't know who Sushi is, get over to the original S.E.P.S Paranormal. She was hilarious to listen to.
She was.
As are you, Paul, and as are you, Eric, as well. You seem to work really well together. And if you're not subscribed to the podcast already, if you don't subscribe to the podcast, half of these guys on the other side of the screen have firearms. I don't. I do have a bat. So I can get.
I've got an attitude.
Yeah. So go and subscribe to it. If you don't subscribe to it, it's your own fault and loss, and you can sit on the bus and listen to nothing for all I care. So, nevertheless, guys, thank you very much. Before we go, just another little shout out to somebody who's not involved at the show as much, but is somebody who's a bit of a friend of the show, Samantha Mason. Her mother's been quite poorly at the moment, and she runs PSH, a paranormal PSH radio, I think it is.
Yeah.
So we just hope her mum's all the best. Her mum's been in hospital for a while now. We just hope her mum's pulling through. So, and yeah, thanks very much, guys, and for everybody else, we'll see you again next week.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Thank you.